You ready, Yaakov? You ready to learn Torah? Okay, let's go. The Gemara had a machlokes yesterday. We are now on Daf Samachet Amud Bet 68b. Okay. The Gemara had a machloket yesterday. What was the machloket about? It was about Rav and Shmuel versus Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. Rav and Shmuel said that when the Mishnah says here, there's a case that you bring a chatat. It's true, only one chatat for maybe 100, if it's 30 years. But you do have to bring a chatat. Rav and Shmuel said, the way the Gemara finalized Rav and Shmuel was that what is the case they bring one chatat at the beginning of the Mishnah? Not only if you knew about Shabbat and now you forgot, so that's forgetting of Shabbat, but that case of forgetting Shabbat, of not knowing Shabbat, is even if you never knew of Shabbat. That's just as if it's like you knew it and you forgot it. And that's not considered anus, completely not your fault. Even though you were captured by the goyim at 1 year old, that's enough that you do bring a chatat for that. Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish said no. That is not the case in the Mishnah. The case of the Mishnah that you don't know about the concept of Shabbat is specifically when you once knew about it and you forgot. But if you never knew about it at all, you're patur from chatat. Then the Gemara brought down this bright of Mumbaz. Let's see the bright of Mumbaz. Let's start again from there. The Gemara brought I'll say it outside, the Braita that said that what is the case of Kol HaShochech Ikar Shabbat? And the Tana Kama said it's the case, even, he didn't say even, but that's what he meant to say, the way the Misharim explained, even the Tinok Shenishba, the child who was taken into captivity, or the Ger. Now Mumbaz said, no, in that case, Patur. In that case, you're Patur. Okay? So the Gemara is going to ask on Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish from the Tana Kama that we see clearly that case you do bring a chatat. The Gemara will answer at the end that they say, "Oh, you're coming from there. Why?" So what we have someone to. It's not a problem. We'll take Mumbaz. We go with Mumbaz's point of view. Mumbaz says you're patur. Why does he say patur? Because he's saying that you have to have some sort of knowledge about it. Okay. So if you don't have any knowledge about Mumbaz holds you patur, that's exactly what we said. So we'll take the Mumbaz's opinion. That's what the Gemara is going to say at the end. But before we get to the end, we have to finish the Braita, where Mumbaz gets his law from. That you have to have some sort of yidi'ah. It's not enough to be totally never knew about anything. You have to have some sort of something in you that you know, and then there's some sort of lapse in your memory or something that's missing. Oh, this is a Yom Tov now. Came from an ordinary day into an amazing day. Let's go weiter. So it's like this. The Kachayom Mumbaz don lifnei Rabbi Akiva. And this is the way Mumbaz judged his case before Rabbi Akiva. Meaning, where are you coming from? How do you know that? Since we find psukim in the Torah that called mezid, choteh. Now, you would think choteh is for shogeg, right? Sin chatat. By mistake, no. But there's a pasuk that actually describes the one who willfully, intentionally sin as choteh. Where does it say that? In Shuat Haidut. It says, Nefesh kitecheta. When a man sins, kitecheta. And over there it's speaking about not wanting to come and swearing that you don't know any, you cannot testify any testimony about this case. And you lied on purpose. You knew. And it says, kitecheta. And we know that a shogeg is called choteh also. All over the Torah, he calls choteh. Someone who does it with shogeg. So ma mezid shahoyse lo yediyah af shogeg shahoyse lo yediyah. So just like mezid had a yediyah, av shogeg shayta le'yediyah. Just like mezid, they're the same. They're one and the same. Okay? So therefore, what? It's not a gzeira shava. Rashi is going to call a very good question. I was going to explain that. Thank you. It's really a binyan av. Actually, Rashi says gzeira shava. But Rashi later on is going to call it a binyan av. So what they say is that Rashi didn't mean gzeira shava in like laws of gzeira shava. It just means gzeira shava. We find equality, but it really Rashi too few Rashis later calls it binyan av, and you'll see why in a second. Because in a few minutes, in a few seconds, Mumbaz is going to say, "What's the reason for Mumbaz?" The Gemara is going to ask. The Gemara is going to bring another pasuk. They just had one right here. We just said it. Chote chote. So Rashi is going to say, that binyan av is not enough. And you know why this is not enough? I'll tell you to you right now. Because shogeg and mezid are the opposites, right? Shogeg, mezid. Intentionally, not intentional. So you're going to start telling me that since the Torah gives them the same name, so they probably have the same halachot, that just like mezid, you need yediyah. So shogeg needs yediyah? They're the exact opposites. It's a very funny thing to say. So the answer is, there's something else that Mumbaz has up his sleeve, a real drasha. And now he's just like telling you after that drasha, so like, they could be the same. Because look, they're both kolchayte. Just like a cherry on top. This is not the main drasha. Okay? Now, but this is what he said so far. So Amalei Rabbi Akiva told him, Areini Moisif al Dvorecha. You want to make this binyan av, this gzeira shava, this chote thing? So then you know what? Then I'll add to it. I'll say something else that you can learn from it, and then what are you going to do? It's really a kasha, he's asking him. He's saying, look, if you want to go your path, let's continue going down your path. He says, okay, oh, you really want to learn all the yediot? The shogeg has to look like mezid? This is like Purim over here. What's going on? Shogeg should be like mezid v'hapachu. So then he says, so it's not just the idea. There's not just knowledge when you do something intentionally. There's knowledge at the time that you do it. So by shogeg also, you should need knowledge at the time you do it, which is not shogeg. So you know what Mumbaz told him? Oh, Maloi Hein, you're 100% right. I'm not scared of that. The choshkein choice after. And all the more so that you added, thank you very much, you're actually supporting me. And I'm very excited to tell you what that means, how that's possible. The Gemara is going to say it very soon. But Mumbaz is saying, you're right, you're 100%. You have to have yediyah b'shas ma'isa. So how then, what is it shogeg? Knowledge at the time that you do it, so what are you not making a mistake in anything? So Rabbi Kiva said, that's not called shogeg, that's called mezid. But Mumbaz has a plan. Okay? So anyways, we have this great machlokes, Tanakama and Mumbaz. If you have to have a yediyah at the time of the shogeg, or if you have to have the diyah by shogeg, and Mumbaz goes yediyah at the time of the shogeg also. Anyways, what do we see from here? So the Gemara says, Ketoni miyah. At the end of the day, nevertheless, we see inside here that it says, Keitzad, what is the case? The beginning of the Braita said, what is the case that a person errs, he makes a mistake erroneously about Shabbat, about the concept of Shabbat? Tinok. He gives the case of the child who was captured by the Goyim. Bishlam Rav Shmuel Nicha. Because they say that you bring a chatat. That's what the Braita says. Because they say that case is not a chatat, it's an ones, and you're patur. Amri loch, Rabbi Yochanan ben Shlokish, loy mi yiko Mumbaz de poter, anan de amrinan ki Mumbaz. Isn't there Mumbaz who exempted? We go like Mumbaz. Okay? And our Mishnah here, where they learned the Mishnah, we say it's Mumbaz, not the Chachamim. That's where they explain our Mishnah, Klal Gadol. So the Gemara says, my time is the Mumbaz. What is the real reason for Mumbaz? The binyanav of the fact that they're both called chotei, Rashi says, can't be true because it's a binyanav that just like this is called chotei, so probably this is also similar to it. No, it's probably not similar to it because one is the opposite of the other. If I say black and white, black and white are not such opposites really. We just consider them opposites. I'm saying tall and short.
Yeah. Sorry, where exactly are you right now? If you don't mind me asking.
I can't hear because there's a train. What?
Where exactly are you right now?
We are right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines from the bottom of Samachet Amud Bet 68b. So therefore, Mumbaz was just, it was already the end of his drasha when he said chote chote. That wasn't his main. So what was his real source? I hope you could hear because there's a train. I don't know if you could hear. You could hear? Okay. Because we have this. My time with the Mumbaz. Dichtiv. Torah achati alechem lo'oseh b'shegagah. The Torah says, when someone brings a chatat for inadvertently violating avodah zarah, transgressing, right? The next pasuk says, the nefesh that comes up with a high hand to go against Hashem. The next pasuk is talking about someone that does something b'mezid. And the first pasuk says, Torah achati alechem lo'oseh b'shegagah. Hiki shogig l'mezid. Ma mezid shoyis lo yediyah, av shogig shoyis lo yediyah. Just like mezid, the second pasuk, which is right next to the pasuk of shegagah, has a yediyah, so too shogeg has to have some sort of yediyah. And it's not enough to okay? Now, they say that the fact that they're both called chotei got Mumbaz to be able to darshan this hekesh. He knew this hekesh was correct because he saw the chotei chotei. That's what he used chotei chotei for. To be comfortable expounding the hekesh this way. Okay, so therefore we know now that you need to have a yediyah even by shogeg. According to Mumbaz. V'Rabbanan, that argue with Mumbaz, Hai Torah achat mai avdilei. What is this hekesh that they're going to darshan from this psukim? They can't darshan what he did because they disagree. So they learn like this. This is needed for the way that Rabbi Yeshua Levi would teach his son. The Torah says there should be one Torah, one law, for those who sin bishkagah. Now it's talking about avodah zarah there. So why does it say such a general language? Torah achat yilachem laoseh bishkagah. One Torah to those who do shkagah. Uchtiv v'chis tishgu v'lo ta'asu et kol ha'mitzvot ha'ele. And it says there, if someone erred and he didn't do all these mitzvot, okay, the psukim before that, and ended up doing avodah zarah inadvertently, uchtiv, and it says at the end of that story of avodah zarah, v'hanefesh asher ta'aseh biyad ramah v'nichita. If he goes b'mezid, he'll get karet. So what are these psukim really doing in their entirety? If you really look at the whole scope of the whole thing, they're saying like this: if you do it b'mezid, avodah zarah, you get karet. If you do it b'shogeg, you bring a chatat. And then there's some pasuk over there, Torah achat yelachem lo'oseh b'shegagah. One law for those who do things b'shegagah. So you know what it's there for? Hukshu kulam la'avodah zarah. All mistakes in the whole Torah, that's what it means. Torah achat, there should be one Torah, one law to those who sin by mistake. They should be just like this story at hand, the topic at hand, which is avodah zarah. Meaning, you want to know, you did averah by mistake. Do I bring a chatat or not? Torah achat. It has to be exactly all of them one way, like avodah zarah. Now what? Look at avodah zarah. Do you look like avodah zarah? Then yes. Meaning, just like avodah zarah has mazid, and the shogeg of the avodah zarah's mazid has karet, and that shogeg has chatat. So too, when will you bring a chatat for shogeg? When if you would do it b'mezid, it would be karet. That's what we learned from this hekesh. Mumbaz learned what he learned out, that shogeg has to be like mezid. Okay, malahal davar shechayim azdono karet v'shegot chatat. Avkol davar shechayim azdono karet v'al shegot chatat. So the Gemara says, ve'lo mumbaz shkogel b'mai. Now, what did Mumbaz tell Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva said, if you have to be like Mezid, they have to have the idea, then you should be like Mezid. And because of this hekesh that puts Shogeg and Mezid, you have to have the idea. So you have to also have the idea b'shat ma'aseh. B'shat ma'aseh. So Mumbaz said, yeah, you do. You do? So you're Mezid, said Rabbi Akiva. So what does Mumbaz mean? How could you have? So it means the Mumbaz is telling you now that you have to have a yidiyah, knowledge of what you're doing at the time that you do it, not only by Mezid, but by Shogeg too. So then how can you call it unintentional? You know at the time that you're doing it, so then in what way were you unintentional? Asked the Gemara. Everything was intentional, you knew about it. Where's the Shogeg here? So the Gemara says, you're not going to believe it. But this is what Mumbaz holds. He's saying like this. You have to, the shogeg is like this. You get into a car on Shabbat, the guy, chas v'shalom, lo aleinu. The person gets into a car on Shabbat, tells the people around him, we're talking about no edim, okay? It's his family, for example, okay? He says, listen, what I'm about to do now is karet. It's terrible. He tells them all the drashot in the Gemara. He knows every pasuk, every rishon. Talmid Chacham, he knows this. At least in this, he knows exactly why it's karet. He says, I don't care, I'm doing it. He goes in, revs up the engine, drives off. But before he drives off, they ask him, oh yeah, and what happens if you did it by mistake? Yeah, if I did it by mistake, nothing would happen to me. But I know, and I'm doing it. Nothing would happen to you. So he doesn't know that even when he does it inadvertently, he still has to bring a carbon. He almost has to die. He has to bring the animal instead of him. He doesn't know how serious this melacha is. He only knows that it's serious if you do it intentionally. But he doesn't know its severity when you do it unintentionally. So that's what he erred. That's the shgaga. That is the case of shogeg, that you bring a carbon. So when he finishes his spin, his rabbi, the family rabbi is waiting for him. He says, Jeff, go bring a carbon. Why? Never heard of carbon. That's exactly why. Because you never heard of carbon. You didn't know how bad it was. That's what your mistake was. That's the shogeg.
Okay, so after he knows, we can't ever do it again.
After he knows that melacha has a carbon. Yeah, you're right.
39 times.
Unless he forgot. No, he can forget again. But that is, and right, you can forget again. And that is the case of shogeg. But what about if the guy doesn't even know? He doesn't know that what he's doing is wrong at all. According to Mumbaz, he doesn't have any yidiyah like Mezid. He doesn't bring a carbon. Wow. This is Torah. This Mumbaz is Torah. Unbelievable. Okay. Now, you should know there's certain things about a carbon that are even worse than Misa. So you shouldn't take this so light. You say, oh, he doesn't know about the carbon. Let's say a person does teshuvah, for example, and he has to bring a carbon. David, Michael, let's say a person does teshuvah, and he has to bring a carbon. Mam's the best teshuvah he ever did. Crying for 5 days straight. Clean. Mikveh, crying, everything. All the Rabbeinu Yoinas he does. He still has to bring a carbon. There's no way out. But karet, you can get out if you do real teshuvah. So carbon is very chamur over here. So he didn't know carbon. That's a big thing. That's what Mimbas holds. So he knew about what he's doing, but he didn't know about the carbon. That's when you bring the carbon. That is the shagaga in the Torah that you do bring the carbon for. V'Rabbanan, what did the Rabbanan say? They say shagagat carbon lo yishma shgaga. Okay. They say not knowing about the carbon, that's not called shgaga. You know what shgaga is? Exactly the way you think it is, Rabotai. The way we think it is till we got to this Gemara. Shgaga means in the lav, in the transgression itself. There has to be something that I don't know about the transgression itself. Okay? Knowing everything about the transgression and knowing that it has karet, and just erring in one error that I didn't know that there's a carbon, that's not called shgaga according to the Rabbanan. Okay. So now the Gemara asks like this. So, according to the Rabbanan, where does the shgaga have to lie in? In what? In the Averah itself. So ask the Gemara, the Rabbanan shgaga b'mai. According to the Rabbanan, where exactly does it have to lie in? The Gemara wants to know. Interestingly, Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish argue about what the Rabbanan will hold. And why do I say interestingly? Because Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish don't agree with the Rabbanan. They go with Yediyah, they go with Mumbaz. They wanted that the kid, the Tinok Shenishba, won't bring a Chatat, because you have to have Yediyah. Whose opinion is that? Mumbaz. So if they go with Mumbaz, they have to take his whole drasha and everything. And they have to say that the only time, but they're going to tell you, even though they don't agree with the Rabbanan, but they're going to have a machloket of, according to the Rabbanan, that the shgaga has to be in the actual lav, which is what we're used to, till we got this today, till Mumbaz, this Chidush Mumbaz. Where exactly does it have to be? The shgaga. So Rabbi Yochanan Omar, Kevan sheshagag bikaret af al pi sheizid b'lav. Rabbi Yochanan says, if you didn't know about the karet, even if you knew that this act was very bad, you have to make a mistake in the action. But what in the action? Not that the action is not permitted. You could know, you could tell your family, not you, Chas v'shalom, the person who tells his family, I'm allowed to take this drive. Excuse me. You could, scratch that. Rabbi Yochanan says, you could know about the lav. You could tell your family, the person who tells his family, this is a problem. Shabbat, you can't do this. But I'm doing it anyways. But he didn't know that this action has karet. Okay? Mumba says that he can know it has karet. He can know everything about doing this action. But he made a mistake in the carbon. If he would have done it by mistake, what would be? But Rabbi Yochanan says, no, you have to not know something about the way you're doing it now, here. So what don't you know about the way you're doing it now? B'mezid, you're doing it b'mezid. I don't know that there's karet. So I say it's a very bad Avirah in the Torah. It's serious Avirah. Shabbat. Is there karet, sir? No. Karet, and you're not gonna kill me. So you didn't know how bad what you're doing. Mumbaz goes so far to say, he says, you could even know what you're doing. Just you didn't know. If you would have done it in a different way, you wouldn't know about the carbon. Rabbi Yochanan is going in the Rabbanan. The Rabbanan say, you have to have a shgaga in what you're doing itself, in the lav. But Rabbi Yochanan says it suffices to not know how bad what you're doing right now is. That there is karet. Got it? Rish Lakish says, and I'm sure you're more used to Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish over in the Chachamim, ad sheyishgog belav v'karet. No, you have to be bishogeg in the lav and in the karet. Which means when you get into that car, you can't just not know that there's karet. You also have to not know that there's a lav, that there's a problem. Which is the old classic thing that we all thought. That's Rish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan says, you can know it's a problem as long as you don't know the severity of the karet. And Mumbaz says that you could have a shgaga in the carbon. even when you do it by mistake. Okay? That's interesting that Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, but they want to tell you what the Rabbanan hold. But they go with Mumbaz. Okay? Fine. Hope it's clear. If anybody has a question, please don't hesitate. Omar Rava. My time, the Reb Shimon ben Lakish. What's the reason for Reb Shimon ben Lakish? Now, why are they arguing over here? So Tosfos says the Gemara doesn't ask about Rabbi Yochanan because the psukim that were mentioned before in the Torah Achat, right? That everything has to be like Avodah Zarah, there has to be karet, shogeg. It doesn't mention anything about the lav. It just says karet. So it says b'mezid is karet. B'shogeg, so Rabbi Yochanan says simply the shogeg is in the karet. That's how Rabbi Yochanan learns. But if Shlakish, the Gemara wants to know, Amar Akra shelo te'asena b'shgaga ve'Hashem. The Torah says, "Ashelo ta'asena." When it's speaking about a regular chatat, ve'Hashem achi yishgog belav v'karet sheba. What's ashelo ta'asena? Lo ta'asena is the lav, is the thing that you should not do, right? Bishgaga ve'Hashem. Over there, it's speaking about the nasi. Okay, the nasi brings a special chatat. And the Torah is saying like this: Asher lo te'asena bishgaga, that he didn't do it bishgaga. In the lav itself, in the action itself, was not bishgaga. So you see that the shgaga has to be in the action. The guy says, "What are you doing?" He says, "What's wrong? There's nothing wrong with this action. That's your mistake in the action itself." Okay. So what does Rabbi Yochanan do with this pasuk? He says, I need this pasuk to teach me a different drasha. Okay, we know that if a person does an aveira that's karet b'mezid, b'shogeg, he brings a chatat. But it's not so, not everybody. The pasuk says, me'am ha'aretz. Those psukim that we learn out, chatat yachid, a private chatat, it says, if someone from the Am Ha'aretz, from the nation of the land, why from the nation of the land? If someone, from, not everybody, it's an exclusion. Prat lemumar. Lemumar is a guy who's rebellious. For example, this guy, every night for supper, he eats chaylev. Chaylev is karet. He doesn't care. The guy does it on purpose, willfully. And if you do that by mistake, you bring a chatat. But this guy doesn't care about Avera. One night, he actually thought that he wasn't eating chaylev, and he was. He was doing his daily regimen. He didn't realize. He thought he was actually eating kosher. He's like, yeah, it's funny, I'm eating kosher tonight. But it wasn't. It was actually chaylev. So maybe you should bring a chatat? No, it doesn't bring a chatat. Because you don't deserve a chatat. You don't deserve a kapara. Okay? Is that good? Is that understood? Okay. Rabbi Shimon Elazar Rabbi Shimon Asher lo ta'asena b'shgaga ve'Hashem. Rabbi Shimon Elazar says that halacha we learn out from a different pasuk. It says Asher lo ta'asena b'shgaga ve'Hashem. Look at this. See, this is what Rabbi Yochanan is going to go. He's going to go like Rabbi Shimon. That Rabbi Shimon Elazar is bringing down. That halacha of mumar is actually learned out from a different pasuk. Which one? The one that Rish Lakish used. We learn from there that a mumar will never bring a chatat. Why? Because it says, Hashov asher lo ta'asena bishgaga ve'Hashem, and the next pasuk says, O hedai lav chatato asher chataba. Or it became notified, it became known to him about the sin that he sinned. So he brings a carbon. So therefore we learn from this like this. We learn that you know when a person is a shkaga and he brings Hashov mi yidiyasei maybe carbon al shkigosei. Loishav midiyase any maybe carbon al shigiyase. If you would return and you do teshuvah because of your knowledge, which means, let's say I would go over to you while you're eating chaylev, not you, chas v'shalom, the person, and say, buddy, you're eating chaylev. What? What's chaylev? Chaylev. It's asur in the Torah. This? Yeah. Would you be shav? Would you do teshuvah? Would you stop? If you would, then, even if that didn't happen and you ended up eating the whole thing, nobody came and told you anything, that's the case. Oh, hidai lav chatato. You have to, that if you would know, you would be lo te'asana, you wouldn't do it. But a mumar is eating. He tells his family, tonight I'm eating kosher for some reason. But then, if a guy would come in and say, by the way, tonight you're not eating kosher, you have to stop, that's chaylev. What would he do? He wouldn't stop. He said, okay, fine, I don't eat kosher any night. What do I care? So that person doesn't bring a chatat. And therefore, that's where we learn it out from this pasuk, Asher lo ta'asena b'shgagav v'Hashem, and then ohedai lav chatato. And that's what Rabbi Yochanan is going to do with this pasuk. But I want to tell you something. We learn, everybody agrees with this drasha. So I just want to point out one little thing parenthetically. It's just a small piece that the Rishonim say that according to Mumbaz also agrees with this last drasha that we just said. That the only time you bring chatat is if you would know. So, and Mumbaz also said that the guy could know that you didn't get karet. So what doesn't he know? So, listen to this. Munbaz, David, said that the guy, what's the shogeg? He knows everything. It's karet to drive on the Shabbat. It's karet to eat the chaylev. So where's your shogeg, sir? What he didn't know is that if you do it by mistake, that he didn't know that there's a carbon by mistake. So, what would happen if you would tell him that there is a carbon? It has to be that the thing that he erred in, and we said Hashav mi yidiyasei, then he would stop. Even though he knows it's karet and he's not stopping. If you tell him it's carbon, because carbon I told you before, that's why I told you before, there's something more special about carbon than karet, because if you do teshuvah, you still have to bring carbon. So that would stop. Okay, fine. Anyways, let's continue now. Says the Gemara, Tanan, Avot melachot, abayim chaser achat, ve'avinam ba, minyan olam li. There's a Mishnah coming up in about 4 days, a very, very famous Mishnah in Shabbat, that goes through the 39 melachot. And not only does it go through the 39 melachot, but it actually, and it spells them all out, it actually says a number at the beginning. It says, there are 40 minus 1 melachot. It's 39 melachot. And the Gemara asked, why do you need the number? Minyan alamali. Why do we need a number? Say 39, I can count. Rabbi Yochanan told us that the Mishnah is teaching us that let's say you did all 39 melachot with one forgetting. You don't say, okay, fine, you forgot all of them, so just bring a chatat. You bring for each melacha 39. That's what the Mishnah is telling you. There are 39 categories. So if I forgot all of them in one shot, I forgot 39 separate things, and therefore I bring 39 chataot. So the Gemara says, How is that possible? How could it be that you forgot that you bring 39 chataot? Must be bizdon Shabbat v'shegigat melachot. It must be zidon. Zidon means b'mezid, willfully, knowingly, intentionally. You zadon of Shabbat, but the shkaga, the mistake was in the melacha, which means you knew today was Shabbat. Today's holy, but you didn't know that these things are asur. Okay, that's the third case in our Mishnah. That the guy knows today's Shabbat, he knows about Shabbat, he knows that today is Shabbat, he knows it's a holy day, but he doesn't know that these specific things are asur. Okay, that's the case where you're going to bring 39 chataot. That's good, right? Everybody understands that, right? Now, why can't it be the opposite way? That actually he didn't know that today was Shabbat. But he did know. So what did you know? You knew about the fact that these melachot are asur, but today's Wednesday, today's Sunday, whatever. So the problem, it cannot be that. That cannot be the case when you bring 39 chataot. Because our Mishnah told us that if you think today is Sunday, and you do all the melachot, since your mistake is in one thing, you bring one chatat per Shabbat. So that can't be the case of 39 melachot, 39 chataot. So the way that you bring 39 chataot is that you made 39 mistakes in 39 melachot, but you knew that today was Shabbat. Okay. So the Gemara says, Bishlam al Rabbi Yochanan do Amar Kivin sheshagag bekaret afal pi shehezid delav. Now we're going into Shita of the Rabbanan, not Mumbaz, for a second, to work in that Mishnah. And he says, there's machloket Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish in that opinion of where exactly the shkaga has to be. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, where's the shkaga? You can know that what you're doing is wrong, just you can't know that it's karet. That's the mistake. That's when you bring the chatat. So it's fine. Mishkachat you're going to yodel al Shabbat belav. Very good. What happened was like this. You know what it means that he does 39 melachot in one helm, one forgetting? That's a mistake. And he brings 39 chataot. He knows about Shabbat. He knows today is Shabbat. He even knows that all these are the 39 melachot. He actually just told his kids all the 39 melachot. He doesn't know that there's karet. And he does all 39. He doesn't care. He's mazid, bilav, but he's shogeg bikaret. So that's shogeg, according to Rabbi Yochanan in the Rabbanan. That's shogeg. He brings 39 chataot. That's very good. But according to Reb Shlakish, that said that you have to not know that the lav is aser. Not only in the karet could you not know, but you can't know about the lav is asur. The yodel el Shabbat b'mai. So listen to this. So what's going on here? He wakes up in the morning, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, he knows it's Shabbat, and he doesn't know that these 39 melachot are asur. So then what does he know about? So what does he know? You say, what do you mean, what does he know? He knows that today's holy. That's not holy. Shabbat means you know that today is holy. Not that we call it Sabbath. Not like a guy's knowledge about Sabbath. Today's Sabbath, man. No. You know that today's holy. That means that you have to refrain from something. But he doesn't know about anything that you refrain from. All 39 things are kosher in his mind. So in what way is it Shabbat that he knows? And don't tell me, oh, well, fine, so then he doesn't know about Shabbat either. Fine, he doesn't know about anything. Then he only brings one chatat. Right? Because if you make a mistake in the Ikr Shabbat, or in the day of Shabbat, it's only one chatat. So it must be that he knows about Shabbat, and yet he doesn't know about the Malachot. But what does he know about Shabbat if he doesn't know about the Malachot? What does he do? He tells his kid, today's such a holy day. I'm telling you, what's so holy about it? I don't know, you kugel, cholent, that's not holy. Holy, whenever it says kadosh, it's kadosh ba'asiyas melacha. The Gemara says, ouch. The Gemara says it's all over the place. That's my avera, I don't know what, but the Gemara says, the Gemara says it all over. Kedusha, whenever he says Kedusha, is be'asiyat melacha. Holiness of Shabbat means, and Yom Tov, means in refraining of work. It's so holy that you can't do melacha. Because you have to reflect all the pshatim and holiness. We're not going to speak about it right now. So the Gemara wants to know, so the Gemara answers, the Yoda b'tchumin. He knows about tchumin. But that's not a melacha that you get. Well, it's not one of the 39 melachot. Oh, it's the Rabbanan asks Amonon. But there's one opinion that holds Doraita. So the Shlokish is going to say that Mishnah coming up in 4 dafim, let's say 39, you can bring 39, according to the Rabbanan of Mumbaz, according to Rav Shlokish's explanation, will have to be going according to Rabbi Akiva. And it's possible to bring, the Mishnah teaches you, it's possible to bring 39 melachot. Because he knows about Tchumin. Tchumin means that you're not allowed to leave your domain of 2,000 amot. And most opinions hold that the psukim are just an asmachta, and it's only with the Rabbanan. But Rabbi Akiva holds, he dashens psukim in its deoraita. Even though it's deoraita, there's no carbon, there's no skila, there's no karet. Just something that's prohibited. So he knows about that. He knows about the smallest thing. You're not allowed to walk. Okay, fine. But do you know you're not allowed to plant? No, what's wrong with that? So that's when he does all those 39 things and he brings 39. Okay? Shmaking sugis here, no? Into Shabbat. Here it's, yeah. Okay. So now, one guy gone, one guy. Put everyone's. Okay. Maybe that's Lashon Hara. That's terrible. That's Lashon Hara. Hi. We have you back, Baruch Hashem. You ready for the next piece of Gemara? Hey Chatzion. David, good morning. Let's go, you ready? We're about to embark on the greatest journey of our life. Man tana lohodu tana rabbanon shogeg b'zeh u'b'zeh. Zeh shogeg om about Torah. Okay.
You're doing it all night learning on Shabbat with Gemara, right? In Amnon's house?
With the help of Hashem, if he invites me for the whole Shavuos, maybe. And my family wants to come, but this put the whole family over here.
We have a whole bounce house for you guys.
Whole bounce house. We have a little house over there. Yeah, we should do it, but it's too far, the walk. Most of the night we'll be walking. I wish. It would be beautiful if I came here, no? Maybe I should come. How far is the walk? It's over an hour.
Hour 25.
And then I have to walk back in the morning, hour 25. If I had a chavrusa on the way, maybe.
They'll come pick you up.
Okay. Man tana lohodu tana rabbanon shogeg b'zeh u'b'zeh. Zeh shogeg om about Torah. There's a brayta that says like this: if you make a mistake in both, in Shabbat and Melachot, that's like the quintessential. That's the quintessential mistake. The guy doesn't know it's Shabbat and he doesn't know the Melachot. Like he's totally in the not know. He doesn't know anything. That's like wow. Rashi says that's like it ain't shogeg kazeh. That's what the brayta means to say. That's the expression. That's what we're trying to express. Hazid b'zeh, you know everything. Shabbat, Melachot, Karet, Korban. The guy knows the whole thing. He's Talmid Chacham. He does it anyways. So he made it on B'Torah. Chas v'sholom, not a real Talmid Chacham. That's the quintessential mezid. Shagag b'Shabbat ve'ezid b'Melachot, or shagag b'Melachot ve'ezid b'Shabbat. But if he was shogeg in one and mezid in the other, or she'omar yodea anishu melachazu asura ve'eni yodea shechayim aleh korban oiloi, or he says, I know this is asur, but I'm not sure if you're going to bring a korban for this. Chayav. Then he brings a korban. Kiman, who is that like? Kimumbaz. Omer Abaya. So Abaya says like this. This is so geschmack, these gemaras. Hakol moed b'shuas bitoy shein chayav oleh korban ad sheyishkeg belav sheba. everyone agrees that in Shvuat Bitui is an Aveir in the Torah to swear, to express. Bitui means to express with your lips an oath that you will not do something or you will do something. And the halacha is that if you violate the oath that you make, that you express with your mouth, that you will do something or you won't do something, if you violate that, b'shogeg, inadvertently, you have to bring a carbon. That's what the Torah says. So, what was your mistake? So before, we had a machloket, Rabbi Yochanan of Shlokish, if you remember, if the mistake should be in the carbon, yeah? If the mistake should be in the carbon, I'm okay with it. Oh. If the mistake should be in the carbon, or the mistake is in the lav itself. Rabbi Yochanan of Shlokish. So Abaye says that Hakol Moedim, everyone agrees that when it comes to Shvuat Bitui, the mistake has to be in the actual lav. Okay? So the Gemara says, Hakol Moedim man, who's this? So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan. It cannot be about the Chachamim and Mumbaz. Remember Mumbaz says that the Shogeg has to be, Shogeg is in the carbon. You can know that there's karet. So it can't be that Abaye is saying now that he agrees when it comes to swearing, that you only bring the carbon if you make a mistake in the carbon. Why? Because you only bring a carbon if you make a mistake in the lav. They have to be ashishkik b'lav. You have to make a mistake in the actual lav. That can't be it. Mumbaz agreeing here. Why? Because there's no reasoning. There's no reasonable reason to say that Mumbaz would admit. Why not? Because the Mumbaz said even when there's karet, okay, and Mumbaz said in all the chayvei chatot in the Torah, as long as you don't know that there's a carbon, that's enough to make you bring a carbon. So, for sure, here that the carbon is a chat. Okay, the carbon chatat by Shuat Bitui is a great chidush. I should have introduced this first. What happens? You bring a carbon chatat. That is a chidush. That is a novelty. We said before the only time you bring a chatat is if you would have done it on purpose, you would get karet. Shvu is not like that. There's no karet if you violate your oath even willfully. So this is a very big chidush. There's a chatat. There's an exception. Okay, there's a few exceptions. So here there's no chatat. There's the chatat even when there's no karet. Okay. So for sure it would be enough to err in the carbon, to not know about the carbon, for you to have to bring a carbon. So it wouldn't make sense that Mumbaz would say, oh no, here I agree that you have to do it in the lav. You have to not know something about the lav. So who's the Hakol Modim? Who's everyone agrees? The answer is Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan in the Shita of the Rabbanan. Remember they had Machloket, Rabbi Yochanan and Shlokish. If the mistake is in the karet or the actual action. So Rabbi Yochanan says, even if you know the action is prohibited, but you don't know that there's karet, you will bring a carbon. So maybe Rabbi Yochanan is saying here, that's what Rabbi is saying. He agrees that by Shvuah, it's not like that. Shvuah, it's not enough to make a mistake about the karet. Because there is no karet there. So where's the mistake? The mistake is in the carbon. I didn't know there's a carbon. So the Gemara says, Pshita. Kikam Rabbi Yochanan hechadika karet. Avalacha deleka karet lo. When there's karet, Rabbi Yochanan says that the mistake should be in the karet. But here there is no karet. So obviously the mistake has to be in the lav itself, that I don't know that the lav itself is asur. Maybe I said carbon before, that was a mistake. In the lav itself, in the action itself. So the Gemara says, Salka daitachamin hoy l'chayev karban chidushu. The b'chol ha'toyra kulu le'ashrichon lav, the maisi le karban, v'hocha maisi. So ki shogeg b'karban nami l'chayev. So kamash malon. Not like that. She was like this. You're right, there is no karet, so you can't make a mistake in the karet. But you wouldn't know that Rabbi Yochanan obligated you to actually not know about the action, that it's asur. You would think like this, that in the whole Torah, there is no karban when there's no karet. Here there is. So therefore, I would have thought that the mistake that he can make is in the karban itself. I know it's asur, but I don't know there's a karban. Like the karban takes the place of the karet over here. Because the karban here is a chidush. Even though normally Rabbi Yochanan and Rav Shlokish are going in the shita of the Rabbanan, and they say not like Mumbaz, that making a mistake about the karban is not called a mistake. That only Mumbaz said that. But here maybe would be the exception. Because there is no, because according to Rabbi Yochanan, there is no karet to make a mistake about. So maybe here he would say it's enough to make a mistake about the karban, like Mumbaz. Kamash Shalon Abaye says, no. They're never like Mumbaz. Here, that there's no mistake to make in the karet, the mistake will be in the action itself. You don't know the action. That's what Abaye was coming to teach you. Meitevei. The Gemara asked the kasha. Ezeu shigegat shvuat bitul l'sha'avar. What is the mistake in an oath of l'sha'avar when he says something in the past? Shim Omar Yodea Nisha Shua Zu Asura. Avleinu Yodeim Chayav Nolea Komen Eloi Chayav. I know that what I'm about to swear falsely. I'm about to say that I didn't eat a sandwich yesterday, and I did. But I'm not sure if I have to make a karban. Chayav. So what was his mistake? Karban. And that makes him bring a karban. So you see that you could make a mistake in the karban, not in the lav itself. Homani mumbaz. The Gemara says that's mumbaz. But in the shita of the Rabbanan, even by a shvua, Rabbi Yochanan is going to be moided that you have to make a mistake in the action. It's not enough to do it in the karban. There is no mistake you can make in the karet. So you're left with two choices, in the karban or in the action. So the Gemara is saying only mumbaz says in the karban. Everybody else says in the action. And over here, Rabbi Yochanan has to shake hands with Rav Shlomo and say over here will be in the action. Okay, now there is another nusach over here. It's in parentheses here. I don't know if to say it or not, but I will say it because Rashi says it's not here. Rashi explains he has kashas, but we'll go through it quickly. Lishna achrina mani. We want to know who it is that said this brayso. Ilema mumbaz pshita. If the brayta is mumbaz, it's poshet. Hashta b'chol ha'torah the lav chidush omer shigas karban shmo shkaga hocha the chidush ulekoshkin. Even the whole Torah, where it's not even a chidush to bring a karban, because it's in the classic case that is mezid karet. Still, he says if you make a mistake in the karban, that's enough to make you bring a karban. So here that the karban is a chidush, of course, if you don't know that there's a karban, that should be enough to make you bring a karban. Elolav rabbanon, he must be rabbanon u'to yufta de Abaya to yufta. And therefore it's a kasha on Abaya, because Abaya said that there is, everybody agrees they have to make a mistake in the lav itself, in this case, in the Rabbanon. But this Braita must not be going according to Mumbaz because it's Pashut. So it would have to be going like the Rabbanan and still saying that you can err in the Karban. Not like Abaya said, in the lav. So it's a kasha on Abaya. Rashi does not like this girsa at all. Because there's still a chiddush for Mumbaz. Ayin Shom. Let's go weiter. Ve'omar Abaye. And Abaye said, Hakol moedim bitchuna shein chayev nalech choy mishat sheyishkoig bilav shebo. Everyone agrees. Everybody knows, by the way, let's get introduced to this case. Someone eats tirumah. by mistake. What happens? He's a zor. He's not allowed to eat the terumah. He's not a kohen. First of all, he did by mistake. So, by the way, on purpose, he gets mitah b'dei shamayim, like a karet. Not exactly. Inadvertently, he has to pay back, plus add a fifth. Okay? And he brings a carbon. Does he bring a carbon? No. That's only by hegdish. He pays back a fifth more. Okay? No carbon. So, everybody agrees by Truma that you don't have to pay this fifth. Achi yishkug belav sheba. Okay? So, it's only if you make a mistake in the actual lav. But let's say you knew that they were Truma, and you knew you're not allowed to eat them. But you know you didn't know? Like similar to Rabbi Yochanan. You didn't know about the death sentence. You didn't know about Mita B'dei Shemaim. Hakol moedim man Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan is going to agree. You know what that is? Rabbi Yochanan will agree that it's not enough. You can't just not know about the Mita B'dei Shemaim. You have to also not know that this is Asur, in order for you to pay back the Chomesh. Because, so the Gemara says, Pshita, that's Pashut. Why is it so Pashut? Ki Amar Rabbi Yochanan hechadike karet. Hechadike karet? No. Here there's no karet. The drushes of Rabbi Yochanan, by Avodah Zarah, right, Torah Achat, it was by karet. So you can make a mistake in the karet. But here there's no karet, it's only Mita B'dei Shamayim. Who says that's Pashut, that you can't just make a mistake in the Mita B'dei Shamayim. You have to make a mistake in the actual Aveira. So the Gemara says, Ma'u detema Mita b'mkom karet omedet. Maybe Mita is in the place of karet. It's almost the same. So v'chi shagag b'mita nami l'chayev kamash v'lon. So if he makes a mistake in the Mita, that's also enough. Kamash v'lon, that's not enough. Rava Amar, Mita b'mkom karet omedet. Rava says, Mita is in the place of karet, and actually the chomesh b'mkom karban koy. And therefore, and the chomesh is in the place of the carbon. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, just like by all other averot, you chayav a carbon. If you make a mistake in the karet, here you'll be chayav in the chomesh, as long as you didn't know about the Mita B'dei Shamayim, even if you knew that it was Asur. So he argues with the halacha of Abaye that you can be shogeg, you have to be shogeg belav. He says as long as you shogeg b'mita b'dei shamayim, that's enough. Okay? Now we come to a Gemara that you all heard. You all heard of it. Famous Gemara. Omer Rav Huna, hoyo mahalach b'midbar ve'eino yodei emes Shabbos. Someone mahalach baderech hoyo b'midbar ve'eino yodei emes Shabbos. Okay? He's traveling, he loses track of time, he doesn't know when Shabbat is. Moneh shisha yamim u'mishameh yom echad. He counts 6 days, including today. Then he keeps 1 day. Today, I don't know what day of the week it is, so I consider today like a Sunday. I do Sunday, Monday. Right? I don't like saying Sunday, Monday. It's Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, but just for us to understand what we mean. Today is Yom Rishon, Sunday. I don't know what day it is, so count today as Sunday. So you count 6 days, and then the 7th day keep Shabbat. Chiyah barav. Now you're going to ask me, okay, he actually keeps 1 day, the first day Shabbat, but it doesn't mean today. Not on the day that he loses track. Because today he already did Melachot. So Rashi says this. So therefore he waits till tomorrow. Tomorrow is Shabbat, and then he counts 6 days. And then Shabbat, 6 days. Umeneh Shisha. Okay? Now you might ask a very simple question. You don't know if it's Shabbat today, and you don't know when Shabbat is. So you don't know today, you don't know tomorrow, you don't know the next day. You don't know when Shabbat is. So what type of way out is this? Everybody says only one day. The question is the order. 6 days and one, or 1 day. Every day you have to keep Shabbat. It's a suffix doraita, suffix skila, suffix karet. Just keep Shabbat for the rest of your life until you get back to the yeshuv and you figure it out. So the Gemara is going to say, it's true. It's true, you can't do more melacha than you need to just keep yourself alive. But one day you should keep totally. You should prepare everything before. Make sure that day you can keep like Shabbat. What's the machloket about? Mar sava kebriyato shel olam, umar sava ke'adam harishon. Okay. One says you go like the way the world was created, which was 6 days of Chol, and then Shabbat. So that's what you should do. The other one says you go like Adam Rishon. What happened? Adam Rishon was born, the next day was Shabbat. Do the same thing. You're like a person, you're the human. So your world starts now. So you're like Adam Rishon, which the next day was Shabbat. The Braita says if you were traveling and you didn't know which day was Shabbat, you keep 1 day to 6. My love, doesn't that mean 1 day to 6 sounds like you could do 1 day after 6. 6 days and then 1. That sounds like Rav Huna. Rav Huna that says the one says lo it means the other way. You can read it the other way. If so, says the Gemara, so why would it say keep 1 day to 6? Not to 6. To 6 means like after doing 6, you keep 1. The ratio 6 and then 1. But if it says if you want to say that tomorrow should be Shabbat and then you should count 6, it should have said keep 1 and count 6. The oid Tanya, another problem is we learned beferish in a braita. It says straight out. Count 6 like Rav Huna straight out. To Yufta, the Chiyah Barav to Yufta. Okay. I think I'm going to hold here. Even though we didn't get to the bottom, but Be'ezrat Hashem. Okay. Everybody should be zocher to understand today's shiur, to review it, and to make money for the mishpachot. A lot of brachot, all of you. Everybody should have refuot, yeshuot, kol tov.